always having to whoop a kid's ass. But let's get back to the real thing of it all.
Okay.
Whatever happens in this house stays in this house.
Facts.
All right. So
Okay.
to get back to that, I started off saying that whole statement created secrets, right?
Facts.
So from my family lineage, my father is the youngest of 15.
Okay.
My mother is the second oldest of 11. Right? So there would be a family member, right? To where it was well known that this family member, whether it was an aunt, whether it was an uncle, whether it was a cousin, no matter who it was a well known fact that this individual was a molester. He was a child molester, right? And within that, nobody talked about it. Nobody went to the police.
No.
And they didn't go to the police because I believe within that generational stronghold because they were worried about image and perception.
I would agree with that.
All right.
I would agree with that.
So
they didn't want people to know what was happening in their home,
right,
to their children.
But
or they want anyone to find out how they dealt with it either.
Okay. So I believe that whole statement is why from our culture, you know what I'm saying, as Black people, I think that's one of the founding principles to why therapy for Black people is not common. From that ideology of whatever happens in this house stays in this house. And I'm gonna give you an example.
Okay.
Give you an example. So you can have an aunt or uncle or cousin, right? To where they have some type of addiction. You know, whether it's prescription pills, whether it's alcohol, whether it's cocaine, whether it's heroin, whatever it may be, right? So you're taught as a child, right? You're taught as a child that, all right, well, cool. That, yeah, you know, they just been on drugs. They, you know, you don't want to deal with that.
Everybody got those crazy relatives.
Yeah.
Everybody got one of these in their family. They got a crackhead in their family. They got an alcoholic in their family.
So, but when you were a kid, you heard this perspective, but it wasn't until you got older to where you were probably, I know for me, I didn't find out why this aunt or this cousin or this uncle or this individual in the family, I didn't understand why they were like they were until I found out, oh, well, such and such
used to touch them.
Right. So I'm gonna give you this great example right here.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you this great example. I had this uncle, right? And I'm not even gonna say his name. He's not living. It's irrelevant. So we went to Detroit.
Okay.
Right. Stay with this uncle. Right. So it was me and it was me and my two older brothers.
Okay.
Right. So we went to stay with him. So I want to say I'm probably like 7 years old.
Okay.
All right. So my mom and dad, you know, they festive. Like, you know, my uncle, he got the food. You know, my dad is there. We're all at the table. You know, he's
having a good time.
Yeah, taking shots. Like, we're chilling. You know, it is what it is. So it's late. It's time for everybody to go to bed.
Right.
So I can't sleep. But I'm in the bed with my mother and my father.
Okay.
My other brothers are sleeping somewhere else.
Okay.
But since I'm the youngest, I'm sleeping with my mother and father.
Okay.
So I can't sleep. Right? I can't sleep. So I go to the bathroom. So my uncle, you know what I'm saying? He sees that I'm up and he's like, come and get in the bed with me. Right?
Okay.
So I get in the bed with him. Mind you, I'm 7 years old. And he sleeps naked. That's how he sleeps. He sleeps naked. So my mom wakes up in a frantic. You know, she wakes my dad up. You know what I'm saying? Where's Jock at? You know what I'm saying? Where's Jock? So she goes in my uncle's room and I'm in the bed with him and she spazzes. Like, get out the bed. So my uncle says, oh, no. He was having I remember this. He was, you know, he had a stomach ache and, you know, I just had him come and get in the bed with me. I want to say it was probably like maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. And we got up. My mom told my dad, like, we leaving right now. Packed everybody up and we left, right? It wasn't until I was older to where my mother explained to me that my uncle was a child molester. So the question I had was, why the hell was we at his house? Or why when he come to town, you know, you allowing him to take you out or take me out and we
why are we even hanging with him?
Why are we even dealing with this? But then the real question is, you were protective of me But why were you so protective of me? Because who had he already did this to? And had he did that to one of the cousins, who is spazzing out right now, who is on drugs, or who, you know what I mean? So you get older and you find out, oh, they not like that because that's the direction that they wanted to go in. They like that
because it's how they've been dealing with the trauma that has happened to them.
And from the perspective of whatever happens in this house
stays in this house.
It kept it a secret.
And the thing is, I agree with that. When I tell you that, I'll tell you this. I don't think that is a black community issue. No, I think that is a universal issue. I know people who we went to school with who were having those same kind of problems, might have been on drugs quite often. And you didn't find out until later that when she was 13, she was being molested or raped by her daddy, who was an alcoholic at that time. And instead of them actually seeking to get this individual healing, it went under the what happens in my house stays in my house, to the detriment of this individual's mental health. Right. So now, like you said, no one ever asked why it is they are a drug addict.